There comes a moment in life when you look in the mirror and realize the person staring back at you is not who you were meant to remain. You see the habits that held you back, the excuses that kept you small, the fears that controlled your decisions, and the weaknesses that stole opportunities from your future. And in that moment, something inside you snaps, not in anger, but in clarity. You say to yourself, yes, I'm changed. I had to change, because my old version was too weak to carry the weight of my dreams. The old version of you tolerated disrespect, entertained distractions, and believed that someday was a real plan. That version settled for less, apologized for wanting more, and broke consistency every time life got uncomfortable. But you reached a point where you realized remaining the same was far more dangerous than transforming. So you upgraded your mindset. You stopped letting emotions run your life and let discipline lead instead. You cut out the noise, distanced yourself from people who drained your energy, and committed to becoming someone your future self could be proud of. You stopped playing small and started stepping into the version of you that is strong, decisive, focused, and unshakable. You didn't change to prove anything to anyone. You changed because the life you want requires a stronger version of you, one that refuses excuses, one that chooses growth over comfort, and one that understands that transformation is not an event but a lifelong commitment. Yes, you changed because staying weak was no longer an option, because your dreams deserved better, because you deserved better. Growth never happens by accident. It happens when you make the decision to stop carrying the dead weight of who you used to be. The weaker version of you was built during a time when you didn't know better, when you accepted excuses, prioritized comfort, and lived with a limited mindset. But the moment you recognized your value, the moment you became aware of what you're truly capable of, you understood that staying the same was no longer an option. Letting go of the old you means breaking patterns you once thought were normal, walking away from habits that kept you stagnant, and refusing to accept mediocrity as your destiny. Growth demands sacrifice. It demands honesty. It demands that you look at yourself and acknowledge that the weaker version can't survive in the life you're trying to build. You evolve the moment you choose strength over familiarity and purpose over comfort. The old you chased comfort because comfort feels good in the moment, but it destroys you in the long run. Comfort keeps you predictable, keeps you safe, and keeps you in the exact same place year after year. Strength, on the other hand, comes from pushing your limits, stepping into situations that demand more from you, and willingly walking through difficulties that shape your character. Real strength is forged when you wake up on the days you don't feel motivated, when you keep going despite failure, when you stay focused despite distractions. The weaker version of you avoided discomfort, and that's why you stayed stuck. The new version understands that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every struggle is a test. Every setback teaches resilience, and every failure sharpens your mindset. When you choose challenge over comfort, you choose strength over weakness. The biggest trap people fall into is trying to transform for the world instead of transforming themselves for themselves. But true change doesn't happen because you want applause or attention. It happens when you realize you're capable of far more than the life you've been living. You didn't change to silence critics, you changed to silence the voice inside you that kept saying, "You're not enough." You didn't evolve to prove anything to anyone, you evolved because deep down you knew you were built for more. You stopped needing validation, stopped seeking approval, and stopped waiting for permission to become better. The strongest shift happens when the world's opinion no longer controls your direction. You start walking your path with confidence, knowing that your growth, your discipline, your transformation is for your future, not their judgment. Your past played a major role in shaping the old you, your environment, your experiences, your fears, your disappointments, your failures. But once you reach a certain level of awareness, you understand that circumstances don't define you, your choices do. The weaker version of you reacted to life, the stronger version creates life. You stopped letting circumstances dictate your mindset. You stopped letting pain become your identity. Now you make choices that align with the person you want to become. You choose discipline over laziness, clarity over confusion, purpose over distraction. You take responsibility for your growth. You understand that life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change, and change begins with choice. The moment you start choosing your future over your past, the new you emerges. There's a powerful truth many people avoid. You cannot rise while holding onto things that pull you down. The old version of you was surrounded by distractions, fake friends, toxic habits, negative environments, and behaviors that drained your potential. But the new version understands that strength is not only about what you do, it's also about what you refuse to tolerate. Strength means walking away from people who stunt your growth. Strength means ending habits that kill your discipline. Strength means saying no to anything that weakens your focus, your energy, or your future. You didn't become strong by adding more, you became strong by subtracting what was destroying you silently. The moment you cut off what weakens you, your life begins to rise in ways you never expected. People often think change begins with action, but true transformation begins with mindset. Your thoughts create your habits create your identity, and your identity shapes your life. The old version of you had a mindset focused on fear, doubt, and limitations, but the stronger version operates from clarity, confidence, and self-belief. Before your life changed, your mindset changed first. You stopped talking like a victim and started thinking like a winner. You stopped saying "I can't" and started asking "How can I?" You replaced excuses with discipline, replaced fear with courage, replaced confusion with direction. Transformation starts in the mind long before the world sees the results. Your internal shift created the external change. Your dreams aren't small. Your goals aren't average. The future you want isn't meant for a weak, distracted, inconsistent version of you. It requires strength, resilience, hunger, and relentless focus. That's why you changed, because the life you're chasing requires a stronger foundation. The old you was not built for the level you're trying to reach. The old you didn't have the discipline, the mental toughness, or the consistency needed to carry big dreams. So you upgraded. You became intentional. You became serious. You became someone who no longer negotiates with excuses. Your dreams demanded a higher version of you, and you answered that call by becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. At the end of the day, your transformation isn't about proving anything to the world, it's about proving to yourself that you can rise above who you used to be. You didn't change by accident. You changed because you finally understood that your potential was too great to waste on weakness, excuses, or fear. The path ahead will still challenge you, but now you walk it with a stronger spine, a clearer vision, and a mindset built for growth. The old you would break here, but the new you was created for this moment, and from this point forward, every step you take is a declaration that you are no longer who you were. You are who you were meant to become.